Hello everyone, Jul here. There are so many great titles in the turn-based RPG genre. Some are trying to break a new ground and opening a path for innovation and fresh ideas, while others just focus on creating the most refined and polished gameplay that feels really good to experience. Speaking of gameplay, of course, combat system is one of the most important parts of the game. And that's why today I want to discuss about the best turn-based RPGs that have the most satisfying combat experience. Knowing that there's a lot of these masterpieces, of course there's no way I can showcase all of these games in one video, so this video will act as the part 1 of the series. But before we go into the list, I want to introduce you to the best platform for buying games in this modern era, and it's called Instant Gaming. Instant Gaming is the perfect place for you to shop in games these days. You can buy various games for your chosen platforms, whether it's PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and even Nintendo Switch, and they have the best deals as well. I mean, look at these prices. There are also numerous convenient products to enhance your gaming experience, like subscription, gift cards, and many more. So what are you waiting for? All you have to do is just click my link in the description below, start searching for your favorite games, and use the activation code on your chosen platforms. By using my link, you're not only saving tons of money, but also helping me to support this channel. Alright then, let's get back into the list. In the vast ocean of late 90s JRPGs, Legend of Legaia carved out a unique identity by daring to experiment with the one thing that most games in the genre took for granted, the combat system. While other titles lean on traditional menus and pre-baked animations, Legaia introduced something far more tactile and satisfying, a fighting system that made each attack feel deliberate, earned, and personal. Combat is where the game shines brightest. Instead of choosing a single attack command, you input a sequence of directions mapped to your character's arms and legs. Each sequence results in different martial arts strikes, and if you input a correct combo, you unlock special arts, high-powered moves that blend cinematic flair with devastating impact. Learning new arts becomes its own gameplay loop. You experiment in battle, try different inputs, and are rewarded with spectacular moves, just like discovering a hidden spell through sheer effort and curiosity. Star Renegades gives you one of the smartest tactical combat systems in modern RPGs. Every battle feels like a carefully orchestrated challenge, where planning around timeline placement, class synergy, and resource use matters far more than raw stats. In Star Renegades, each encounter unfolds through a system known as the Reactive Time Battle System, a visible timeline mechanic that lays out every action before it happens. Enemy attacks, timing, and target information are fully visible. Your choices feel meaningful because every delay, stagger, and interruption is deliberate. The complexity of strategic planning deepens when integrating mechanics like shields, armor, and status effects. Enemy encounters feels dynamic due to the game's adversary system. Strong enemies that defeat you may return later as more powerful threats, emulating a Nemesis-style mechanic. Reinforcements are also unpredictable. Enemy ranks escalate over both time and dimension shifts, and enemy behaviors evolve in each new campaign. Ultimately, Bravely Second delivers a JRPG battle system that blends risk management, deep customization, and reward-rich mechanics. At its core lies the franchise's signature Brave and Default system, a mechanic that defines every encounter as a choice between caution and aggression. The backbone of the combat's flexibility is the job system, which features up to 30 distinct classes. Characters can equip 2 jobs simultaneously, combining a job skill set and passive abilities from multiple classes. This system opens wide strategic options. Another feature that enhances combat momentum is consecutive chance, a chaining system that tied to one turn clears. If you defeat all enemies in a battle on the first turn, you will encounter another group and so on. Each successive victory raises your XP, JP, and money multipliers, which rewards aggressive, efficient play and making grinding feel less like a chore. From the moment Grandia III begins, its combat system demonstrates exactly why the Grandia series is revered by strategy-minded players. The game uses a refined version of the active time battle system, built around an IP gauge that visually displays the progress of both characters and enemies toward available turns. What makes the system shine is the cancellation mechanic. When you execute a critical attack or certain special skills while an enemy is in their face, you will cancel their move entirely. Their icon is pushed backward to the start of the gauge, delaying their turn and giving your party vital breathing room. Grandia III also introduces a powerful new twist called aerial combos. When an enemy is knocked into the air by a critical or special attack, you can follow up with a combo attack to launch them into a cinematic airborne juggle. If you manage to pull this off, it will reward you with massive damage and sometimes rare item loot.
Alright! We did it!
Steamworld Heist 2 reframes turn-based RPG combat by turning each turn into an aim-line puzzle with deep customization underneath. Precision aiming meets genre-wide class mixing, and the freedom to combine abilities lets you build truly creative squads. Unlike most strategy RPGs, success doesn't rely on percentage chances or dice rolls. Instead, every shot is manually aimed by the player. You adjust trajectory, angle of walls, and attempt trick shots that can bounce enemies into cover or off ceilings. Landing a ricochet kill that threads through a hallway or clips multiple enemies feels razor precise and earned. When it works, there's no greater satisfaction in turn-based play. If it goes wrong, you will learn quickly and adapt. Movement and combat unfold in tight handcrafted side-scroll levels. Each character has 2 action points each turn, which can be spent on moving, attacking, or using class abilities. You manage positioning behind cover, plan shot lines, and anticipate bullet paths or deflect them off surfaces for maximum effect. Shadow Heart's Covenant builds on the creative foundation of its predecessor while refining and expanding its turn-based combat into a tightly crafted experience. At the center of this system lies the Judgment Ring, a timing-based interface where every action, from attacks and spells to item use, requires button presses to align with colored and critical zones on a spinning wheel. Hitting the colored zone delivers the action. Nailing the far smaller critical zone boosts the effectiveness, often increasing damage or bonus effects. Beyond timing, Covenant also adds a combo attack mechanic. If characters are positioned near each other, one character can initiate, then chain attacks through teammates. Each successful step triggers a prompt to continue the chain, or if the combo breaks, your remaining turns are lost. Landing a 4-person combo allows access to a powerful combo magic finisher that deals massive damage to your enemies. At first glance, Monster Hunter Stories 2 may seem like a simplified JRPG spin-off of Capcom's flagship hunting series, but beneath its gentle pacing lies a combat system that balances rock paper scissors clarity with deeper mechanics that rewards observation, preparation, and adaptability. Every battle revolves around choosing one of 3 attack types: power, technical, or speed. When an enemy targets you, winning this head-to-head matchup not only grants higher damage and reduced incoming harm, but also accelerates your kinship gauge. If both you and your monster select the same superior type, a double attack is triggered, cancelling the enemy's action and further boosting the gauge. The combat layering continues with weapon flexibility. Selecting the optimal weapon for a monster's weak point is essential, especially when targeting specific body parts for breaking them, cancelling enemy attacks, or obtaining extra parts at the end of a fight. Darkest Dungeon brings a stellar fusion of psychological horror to turn-based combat. Your party of 4 lines up against enemies in a formation where each position matters. Combat unfolds in a classic turn-based sequence, regulated by a speed stat and RNG-influenced initiative order. The balance between using your strongest skill and preserving resources is constant and deliberate. Skills are tied to specific ranks. Frontline heroes may strike with swords or shields, while backliners like the occultists provide range or support roles. Pulling or pushing enemies to disrupt their formation becomes a key tactic. When used correctly, these moves can disable powerful threats or force enemies to spend a turn rearranging themselves. What also elevates the combat above the ordinary is the stress and affliction system. When a hero's stress hits its limit, they must test their resolve. Success may grant a permanent virtue, but failure results in an affliction.
Quakes.
Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth reinvents the turn-based RPG format by introducing a live command RPG battle system. Instead of being stuck in place, characters can now move within a radius around their starting point during their turn. You can close your distance to deliver damage bonuses, striking from behind that triggers critical hits, and positioning next to allies to unlock combo attacks. If a character attacks and knocks an enemy into another enemy, an ally standing in the right spot may follow up automatically. Walls, bikes, explosive signs, and random environment objects can be used as improvised weapons. The game also upgrades previous mechanics like perfect attacks, which now allow extra strikes or multi-target hits when you press the timing prompt correctly. Moreover, when 2 characters have strong bonds, they can perform tag team moves that cost hype instead of MP, which encourage bond investment and varied builds. Trails through Daybreak 2 continues refining the hybrid battle system established in the previous game, a combination of real-time field skirmishes and traditional turn-based command battles. In field encounters, you will engage enemies by dodging and attacking on the fly. A new feature called Cross Charge lets you unleash a counter-attack after a perfectly timed dodge, stunning an enemy and providing a seamless transition into turn-based combat. This mechanic makes field battles feel more integrated than before. Once an enemy is stunned, pressing a button launches a command battle, where combat shifts into a familiar turn-based arena. Here, each character has access to arts, crafts, and movement during turns. Positioning matters a lot in this game. Attacks from the side or behind delivers bonuses, and proper placement influences both safety and offensive potential. Octopath Traveler 2 delivers a polished and rewarding turn-based system built on break mechanic, boost, and latent powers, enriched by character-specific quirks and flexible job system. A new layer in the sequel is the latent power gauge, filled by taking damage or breaking enemies that unlocks powerful unique abilities once full. These latent powers can completely shift momentum. For example, Throne gains an extra turn, Hikari obtains devastating new attacks, and Temenos can hit reliably through defenses. These abilities are both impactful and character-specific, making them meaningful focal points for each roster decision. Character customization also deepens through the job and sub-job system. Each party member has a fixed base class paired with a secondary job that can be switched mid-combat. This secondary job grants access to additional skills and passive talents. Skill pools are flexible. Once learned, a skill can be used even after changing jobs, allowing for hybrid builds and tactical diversity. Combat in Shin Megami Tensei V builds on the renowned press turn system that defines the Shin Megami Tensei franchise and elevates it with new layers that demand discipline, creativity, and foresight. Each encounter gives the player a number of press turn icons equal to active party members. Every action, attack, spell, item used consumes one icon. Discovering or exploiting an enemy's weakness, achieving a critical hit, or switching a demon into battle refunds or preserves icons, sometimes even generating extra ones. This mechanic allows skilled players to extend turns far beyond initial limits, often chaining multiple commands in a single round. A major addition in Vengeance is the Magatsuhi gauge, which fills by exploiting enemy weaknesses, taking or absorbing damage, and unlocking miracles. Once full, it lets you unleash Magatsuhi's skills, which is a powerful abilities like a guaranteed critical hits or team-wide specials that doesn't consume a press turn icon. Clair Obscur introduces an evolution of traditional JRPG systems that demands timing, awareness, and tactical planning. Each battle follows a speed-based turn order. On a character's turn, you may choose a basic melee attack to gain AP, execute a free aim range shot, or spend AP on skills. But real innovation appears during both enemy and player turns. You can perform dodges, parries, jump overs, and quick time events that can dramatically alter the outcome of any confrontation. Enemy attacks come with visual prompts. You can dodge for safer, more forgiving avoidance, or parry with precise timing to nullify damage and counter-strike, which resulted in gaining extra AP in the process. Player-side skills also require input timing. Many abilities include a QTE for perfect execution, which boosts potency or occasionally backfires. Persona 5 Royal may look like typical turn-based JRPG fare, but underneath its clean facade lies a finely tuned engine that rewards your mastery of its combat system. Most battles revolve around exploiting enemy weaknesses, be it elemental affinities or physical vulnerabilities to trigger a knockdown. This system grants character turns and enables dynamic chaining of powerful attacks, especially when passing turns through baton pass or unleashing a flashy all-out attack when all enemies are down. Moreover, Persona 5 Royal introduces Showtime attacks, an explosive tag team finisher that trigger under specific conditions. These cinematic moves often occur during boss fights or reveal bonds between characters, which reinforce the game's combat presentation. The best part about the combat, however, is how the system moves faster than typical turn-based systems. Every visual, animation, and UI is crafted to feel responsive and immersive. Even swapping party members or summoning personas includes small animations that reinforce immersion and pace synergy. Divinity Original Sin 2 delivers a combat system that blends strategy, creativity, and tactical depth like few other RPGs. It rewards players who plan ahead, exploit terrain interactions, and compose their teams with diverse skills. Combat in this game unfolds like an intricate puzzle of positioning, elemental interaction, and resource management. At its core lies a turn-based action point system. Every action, whether moving, attacking, or casting, consumes AP, which encourages you to manage your actions carefully. Powerful abilities cost more and often have cooldowns, preventing repetitive tactics and demanding real planning for each character's turn. What elevates the system, however, is its environmental mechanics. Battlefields feels like a science laboratory. Oil spills can be ignited to trap enemies, electrifying water causes shocks, blood pools spawn imps, and height advantage or terrain elevation factor into both damage and defense. You are encouraged to combine spells and battlefield effects in creative ways to gain the upper hand, which turns every fight into a chaotic testing ground. Despite facing development challenges, Xenogears has garnered a dedicated fanbase and critical acclaim. Its ambitious narrative and innovative gameplay have influenced subsequent titles in the genre, including the Xenosaga and Xenoblade Chronicles series. Xenogears introduces a dual-layered combat system, on-foot battles and mecha-based engagements. On ground battles, you will utilize a combo-based system where players input sequences of attacks to execute powerful death blows. As for the mech combat, it involves piloting massive mechs, each with its own set of abilities and fuel management systems. Players must balance offensive maneuvers with fuel conservation, adding a resource management aspect to the battles. For those interested in martial arts-inspired turn-based systems that deeply tied to mechanical combos and resource pacing, Xenogears delivers a unique experience in the genre. Final Fantasy X remains a modern JRPG classic thanks to its innovation on turn-based combat. Final Fantasy X replaces the franchise's long-standing active time battle system with a conditional turn-based system, a truly turn-based mechanic where time pauses during your decision. Instead of real-time pressure, players benefit from a clear visual timeline of actions, both allies and enemies, with turn order influenced by agility, status effects, and abilities that delay or accelerate character placements. This approach elevates combat to a strategic space, where each action shifts the flow of the encounter. A standout innovation is the character switching mechanic, where you can swap one of your 3 active fighters with a reserved character at any point, even during another character's turn, without consuming your actual turn. This mechanic enables dynamic rotation depending on enemies and battlefield conditions, and ensures every team member gains experience through strategic participation. Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader is a CRPG that immerses players in the universe of Warhammer 40k with a rich storytelling and deep tactical combat. Combat in Rogue Trader places players in command of a party of 6 characters, navigating isometric battlefields. Before each fight, you can deploy your squad into custom positions, a system praised for offering clarity at the outset and avoiding flawed default formations common in other CRPGs. Once combat begins, the system uses a familiar action point economy. Each turn allows movement followed by attacks or abilities. One attack per turn is typical, with creative use of grenades, suppression, melee, and debuffs forming tactical variety. A particularly thematic feature is the momentum bar, beginning at 100, rising as you score kills and falls when allies are down. At high momentum, characters can unleash Heroic Axe, a powerful ultimate that may swing a fight to your favor. If momentum drops too low, you unlock Desperate Measures, risky but potentially battle-turning abilities with grave drawbacks. Metaphor Fantazio introduces a combat system that merges real-time action with deeply strategic turn-based battles. Field Exploration uses intuitive fast combat. If you strike a weaker monster, it dies instantly, which is convenient since weak foes no longer slow down your journey. If the enemy is equal or stronger in level, you can stun it and transition into squad mode, a traditional turn-based system involving your party of 3 alongside the protagonist and fairy partner Galika, who uses phase sight to assess threats. When combat shifts into squad mode, the game adopts the press turn system familiar from Shin Megami Tensei series. You begin each turn with a set number of turn icons equal to alive party members. Attacks that exploit weaknesses or score critical hits convert icons into half icons, preserving them and giving you bonus actions. Misses or resisted attacks carry harsher penalties, often consuming multiple icons and ending your turn. The system applies equally to enemies and the player, requiring careful planning rather than the lazy button presses of the usual turn-based combat.
Woo, not too shabby. Let's keep this up, everyone.
Not bad.
Baldur's Gate 3 operates as a meticulously designed sandbox built on a sturdy D&D foundation. It may start simple, but by mid-game it feels like a toolkit of magical combos, tactical possibilities, and world-driven creativity. Combat in Baldur's Gate 3 follows a turn-based system adapted from D&D 5th edition, where each character rolls initiative to act in order. Environmental interactivity elevates each battlefield into a chessboard of possibilities. You can ignite oil spills, push enemies off cliffs, blind foes with incense, or combine spells and surfaces for effect chains. The system also rewards flexibility. You can swap between characters mid-round, control initiative usage across multiple party members, and fluidly mix class abilities, spells, and clever moves. Combos like casting Haste then Action Surge allow a fighter to attack 9 times in a single turn, allowing you to having fun while breaking the limit of its mechanics.
Let's make this quick.
Where do I go from here?
Alright boys, I think that's it for today. I know that there are other amazing combat turn-based RPGs that I haven't mentioned yet, so how about sharing your best amazing combat turn-based RPGs that probably deserve a spot in the comment section below. Don't forget to like the video and make sure to subscribe to the channel if you don't want to miss another great list. Thank you for watching and have a good day. Peace!